What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the Skolcial Network. Apologies in advance if my audio is a little weird. I'm in a hotel room at the Marquette Curio in downtown Minneapolis. Got to go to the U.S. Bank Stadium draft party last night. We'll talk a little about that. But, Brev, how you feeling post first round of the
Oh, I feel
2024
great.
draft?
Other than the fact that you said you'd fly me out there to be with you guys last night, but that's fine. I guess we all need to take accountability for some things we've said today.
I don't think I said that,
Oh,
but I mean, we could look at the receipts.
right.
I mean, let's just start spicy. I mean, we're
Mhm.
going to be doing two episodes today. We're going to be doing this in a little vlog I'm putting together about the draft party. So, I mean, let's just be efficient with our time and get right into it.
Mhm.
We have a false prophet amongst us, ladies and gentlemen, and his name is Brevin Bain. Why
You
is
know,
Drake May not a Minnesota Viking, according to your massive hint,
uh-huh.
hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge hints over the last month or so?
So I could just dive into it and deflect it and blame the people that told me, but I'm not gonna do that because I am an idiot for even the draft is a crapshoot to begin with, not even with just predicting who's going to go where. As we obviously saw with Michael Penix Jr. going at 8 last
We will talk about that.
oh boy. But yeah, no. That's on me for trying to cosplay an insider. Honestly, it's not something I've ever wanted to do before, but I thought it'd be cool like if the information I was getting was like legit and I look like a smart guy for Drake May becoming a Viking, which at the end of the day, if you think about it, like predicting and standing on the Vikings trading up for a quarterback this year, like isn't some crazy pull. It's kind of obvious actually, but no, that's on me for cosplaying. You get smoked. You can't really trust anything that, especially with the draft, you really can't trust any information you've given. And I would like to hereby announce my retirement from cosplaying as an insider, as I tweeted last night. I will just be podcast guy that knows nothing 1,800 miles away from the team. I also want to say, if you trusted me, that's on you.
That's on you.
That's on you.
I have
I'm
to say
saying.
real quick though, because you keep saying like, can't trust these insiders. Nobody really knows.
Yeah,
Somebody did know.
true,
Somebody knew.
true.
Somebody told us. And that man's
Hmm.
name, if you don't know, we're going to sound real weird if people haven't been on the Twitter, is Crack Rock. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Hopefully, I know some of this audience is going to know what we're talking about. Some of you are going to be like, I'm sorry, who? Twitter user Crack Rock, I believe it's spelled Crakrok,
Yeah.
has been referring to what he's called the skinny as far as playing golf and I think eating Chinese food with the Wilfs about a month and a half, 2 months ago, where he was told the future is the JJ to JJ connection. He ended up being right. Do I think he was fully right? No, because to Brev's credit, Brev, you were the one who let me in on the little secret as far as what the initial plan was with May. Um, we're getting rightfully, especially you, roasted a little bit on Twitter.
Oh,
Um, we'll
completely
say
justifiable. Completely
we're
justifiable.
not going to pretend to be insiders,
Mm.
but we are lucky enough to know people who know people. I'll put it that way. And every bit of information that we had relayed to us made sense and was from reliable sources. Whatever happened last night, the it seems as if probably Robert Kraft, from what everyone seems to be thinking, stepped in and nixed any idea. Probably had a last second decision that we're not even going to entertain these conversations. It is being reported that the Vikings upped their trade offer while the Pats were on the clock. From what I know, that was a pretty substantial deal as is. So to even consider upping that deal, if the Pats didn't want to do it, there was probably no moving them at that point. What do you think about Schefter's report? And obviously, it got shut down right away. That we actually did inquire about Justin Herbert.
I was kind of surprised because, like, I've been saying from the jump, like that this has never been a thing, and I guess if you think about it, this kind of stuff might happen like way more often than we think. like a team just calls about a superstar player, like, oh, hey, what do you think?
Do you
Um,
want to eat 100 million in dead cap?
yeah. So I don't think there's like they if they did it, I don't like there it doesn't really mean anything because I feel like it's something that happens more often than we think, and they call knowing like this isn't gonna happen, but like might as well. I don't know. Maybe you get bored on a Wednesday during the off season and you want to call your buddy Jim over in LA. I don't know.
Buddy could be a loosely used term there, depending on who from the Vikings front office was calling. I
Yeah,
know him and
yeah.
Kwesi. I know him and Kwesi are still boys because Kwesi was the reason he came in for the interview, and Kwesi did
Hmm.
want him. Depending on which rabbit hole conspiracy theory you go down on Twitter, it was like 8 different people who denied Harbaugh for 8 different reasons.
Hmm.
So those are the things that could have happened, or in some cases we thought would happen. Let's talk about what did happen.
Hmm.
Um, Top five, really, other than the deal not going through with the Pats. Probably no surprises. Very much, probably, I think, in recent memory, the most predictable top five ever. I think really the
I,
top 6 or 7.
I don't know. Joe Alt going 5 was a bit of a surprise to
Yeah,
me.
that's true. I mean, when you think it doesn't, it surprises me based on who else was available that
Yep.
they could have used, especially at the receiver or tight
Yeah.
end position. It doesn't shock me based on what we know about Harbaugh and the fact that he is
Right.
just
Yeah.
going to have Justin Herbert throw it a yard and a half at a time, and they're just going to run the football with a
Mm,
bunch of ex-Baltimore Ravens running backs.
yeah. And I say surprise because I honestly I didn't really think LA was gonna take receiver either. I was high on Brock Bowers, so my surprise is based off a surprise prediction that LA would roll with Bowers at 5. But like Joe Alt is the Marvin Harrison Jr. of tackle prospects this year. So like it's a good pick still. It's not that I don't
That's a,
like Joe
that's a
Alt.
that's an interesting analogy. He's the
Oh,
wide
Joe Alt.
receiver of
Right.
tackles.
Yeah. Marvin
Yeah.
Harrison relative to you know what the fuck I'm saying. You know what I mean. I'm going through
Uh,
enough the last 12 hours. I don't need you against me too. Okay.
that is incredible. Um, then really, I could, and I'll post the vlog later. You could kind of see the tension in the room. We start seeing Kwesi on the phone. I don't know if NFL Network or ESPN was showing this around this time, but we had a live feed into TCO, and around that fifth or sixth pick, you just see a very serious room. Um,
Hmm.
and just the mood in the stadium was already very tense. It got pretty, you heard audible groaning.
Yep.
Then the surprise of the draft to many people, including their current starting quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. to the Falcons. Uh, I need to know. I'm a Penix fan. I think he could be very successful in this league if he went to the right team. I didn't think he was the right fit for the Vikings. He's definitely not the right fit for the Falcons. That is the worst situation for him to walk into, I think. I have to know, Brev, as a known Michael Penix Jr. hater, what was your reaction when that pick was announced?
So, and we've kind of talked about this before. Like, I'm not a crazy. If you couldn't tell, like, I'm kind of monotone and I guess laid back and chill. I don't really like super react to picks. But with Michael Penix Jr., I just kind of like looked around my room, my living room, and was like, why? I want to say it was equivalent. It was much like genuinely. I mean it when I say this, and if I'm wrong about this in 5 years, like again, I'm eating enough the last 12 hours. I'll eat this too. This is one of the worst draft picks in the NFL history. Sorry, I know it only happened 12 hours, 13, 14 hours ago. It was so stupid. The only thing I can equate it to really, and I think even then people overreacted at the time, but like the Giants picking Daniel Jones was like, well, Josh Allen, the edge rusher, was on the board, and you're like, why would you not take Josh Allen? Like I had Atlanta since Kirk signed there taking Dallas Turner at 8, which yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't pick him. So
Foreshadow.
yeah, so
A
I
lot of
was
mocks had that exact,
yes,
exact
and Turner was
mock.
my pick. So before Kirk left Minnesota, I had Dallas Turner as our pick at 11, and when Kirk left, I had him going 8 to Atlanta. But that's for later. You just signed Kirk Cousins, and again, it's not. It's a 4-year deal, but I think they have an out after 2. So he's your starter for at least the next 2 years. And you draft a 24-year-old quarterback behind him, and then the Falcons double down and say, "Well, if he's developing for a handful of years, then that's a good problem to have." Like, what do you mean?
He's going
Like
to be 30 by the time he starts,
when you sign
potentially.
Kirk Cousins, you were making a win now commitment, and you're going to spend the 8th overall pick on his replacement. Like that's the Packers drafting Jordan Love times 10. Like you have your pick of the litter at defensive players.
I would disagree because the Packers at that stage had a lot of talent in that infrastructure. Now, not to
Yeah,
say Atlanta doesn't, but they need a little more wide receiver depth. They
yeah.
could use weapons and protection around Kirk. We know one thing about Kirk, like he's a very good quarterback. I don't think
Hmm.
I can in good faith call him great, but even with prime Thielen and Diggs and back end prime Thielen and young JJ, he still needed a lot of help. I did you see the video of who's their owner, Arthur Blank, coming down and talking to the GM after the pick?
No, I didn't.
Jack Mack from Barstool has a great reaction. You can tell he had no idea what was going on, and you see their GM having to explain, and you could read his lips talking about, well, on the trade chart and big board, and he looks not happy. Speaking of not happy, who else was not happy about that pick? Wouldn't you know it, the guy that was slightly annoyed we drafted a quarterback in the third round a few years ago. Kirk Cousins was not very happy that he did not know this was going to happen, and apparently his
Shocker.
agent Mike McCartney posted he found out while they were on the clock.
Yeah, that's like just inexcusable. And my friend, I'll call him a friend, even though I
Oh
led him
boy,
astray too.
golly.
Joe Spinoza. Shout out to Joe.
Oh,
Um,
Joe.
I feel bad. I feel so bad for him because he had it in his mind that Minnesota was this awful place. But now his boy goes to Atlanta, and just before Kirk Cousins is his Achilles is even fully healed, a commitment has been made past him. Like it's the
Wild.
worst. I don't get because again, you signed Kirk Cousins to win games now. I don't think the Falcons are going to make a conference championship run this year. Maybe they will. I don't know they're going to go deep at all with Kirk, but still, from principle, it's a win now maneuver, and you're drafting his replacement at 8th overall when the Falcons are loaded on offense. I would think they are. But you can draft Dallas Turner. You can trade down, and not that you can predict the future, but you can trade down. Like Terry and Arnold didn't go to 24. Like Kenyon Mitchell, I think went 22 to Philly. Like there's just so many things you could have done literally anything else that would have been a better decision than taking Michael Penix Jr. You could have taken JJ McCarthy. Like
Oh no,
I don't
no,
know.
no,
Yeah,
no.
I'm glad they didn't.
I
I'm so glad
am
that
glad
like
that didn't happen.
after
But
so
oh,
I on the Drake May thing that I thought I could trust the rumors, and I'm an idiot boy for even thinking I could do that. I should have live streamed me on my couch from pick 3 to when Penix went because I thought Michael Penix Jr. was going to be a Viking, and I thought I was going to have to be that miserable person calling for Kwesi Dofomentz's head on Twitter. Like I really thought I was going to have to do that, and I'm so glad I didn't have to.
I oh man, that was I everyone in the stadium was shocked. There were audible groans of just absolute shock.
Did you think
I
about
had
me
to
in the stadium? Did you think about me?
yes, I was
Thank you.
100% thinking about you. I
When
was
when
like,
Penix went up, like,
how is
yeah,
he gonna no, I was just too busy thinking about how I'm gonna find you and fight you for
yeah.
misleading the masses, but that's a
Oh,
separate
sorry.
topic.
Yeah.
I do have to shout out our boy Edmund on Twitter, because he made two predictions. Funniest thing is that they were completely correct, but for entirely different reasons. One,
Hmm.
Michael Penix Jr. would be a top 10 pick. Two, Michael Penix Jr. would be the heir to Kirk Cousins. Um, he was thinking both of those situations would apply to the Vikings.
No.
No, but both still shockingly accurate, which is
Hmm.
hilarious. That was an interesting decision. I made it very clear. I think Penix is a really good prospect. I don't think going into a place where, yeah, he could have to wait 2 years, he could have to wait four, and be entering his fifth year option by the time he starts at close to 30. I don't think that was the right situation for him. I thought a place like Denver or something like that where he could have a chance to start sooner because he's probably entering his physical prime and things like that where it's best just to get him out there now and get everything you can.
Call me crazy. I still liked Penix to Miami. If Miami doesn't want to roll with Tua and give him the
I,
extension, I
I don't
still
think
liked
that would have been a bad
it.
option. No. Now, for time integrity, we got to talk about that trade announcement up to 10. First off, a lot of people on Twitter thought Kwesi got fleeced by having to trade up one spot. Um, Shockingly, if that happened, it's because the Broncos or Raiders were probably calling. Just a heads up. And
No.
if Kwesi in the Vikings got out of that first round without a quarterback, I think we'd have much more reason to be upset than giving up a few mid rounders.
Yeah, I mean, and that's from a vacuum standpoint, they did overpay for trading up one
Oh yeah,
pick, but that's what you have to do. Like you don't, and we don't know exactly. I don't know if it's been reported that Denver. I'm sure Denver did give New York a call about it because they're for sure monitoring the entire quarterback situation too. But I don't know when you're Minnesota in that situation, and obviously McCarthy was their guy that we've seen now with all the stuff coming out after the draft. I guess the entire way. So maybe we didn't even like really go for
everyone
May.
is their guy. Everyone was
Right.
their guy the entire way.
And I say
Call it
that
what it
because
is.
of what we said pre-show was that Tatum Everett with the Vikings Entertainment was at McCarthy's house.
Yeah.
Like uh, uh,
She could have
uh,
been in Detroit and
she
made
could
like
have
a
been.
30-minute drive. That
She
I
could have
don't
been.
think, but if she was hanging out there, I
Yeah.
think we knew that was
Yeah.
strategic.
So I don't know. You have to do it, I guess, just to secure it. And if he's your franchise quarterback, which I think he can be a very good quarterback in the NFL and is more NFL ready even now than people realize, it's a very small price. We're not going to think about these fourth and fifth round picks in 2 years, even if McCarthy's really good. So it's
Yeah.
what you got to do.
And here's the thing is, and we're gonna spend instead of going fully in depth on is McCarthy the guy, I think if you want a quick answer to that, go watch the Vikes Now episode from last week with Thor Nystrom. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that Thor Nystrom is a significant reason as to why JJ McCarthy went as high as he did and why he got as much of the love as he did. Not just for the Vikings, but just his assessment of JJ McCarthy definitely influenced a lot of people in the NFL as far as fans to really understand and appreciate his game. But instead of going super deep on does McCarthy make sense, we'll have plenty of time to do that. I think the move was a necessity. I think it's exciting. I think he's made it very clear since the combine. Any interview he's had when he's asked about the Vikings, he gushes over Kevin O'Connell. He had not only the Vikings hat during his media interview last night that he was doing from his phone, his Zoom interview, where Wayne Gretzky called him and he had to decline the call.
That
That was
rocks.
badass.
That
That was
rocks.
so badass. He was already wearing this sick Vikings crew neck where I'm like, oh, he wanted to be a
Mm-hmm.
Viking. So we'll dive into that pick. Like we will have all offseason to talk about McCarthy and what he's going to be able to do. Pick number 12. And speaking of Thor tweeted this a couple months ago that Sean Payton panic drafting Bo Nix would be the funniest possible thing. And wouldn't you know, that's what happened.
Yeah, I don't. And I guess you have to look at it. So if Denver really did call the move up, um, for the Jets, and again, like they could have traded up to take Bo Nix because they don't know that Minnesota. Like I don't know. Like again, I'm yeah, I'm so past like guessing what front offices think anymore. But yeah, Nix at I forgot what broadcast. It might have been Thor's. He did something with Fantasy Pros last night, and I can't remember the name of one of the guests on there with him, but it was like, this is how you start your quarterback purgatory after Russell Wilson. Like you're paying Russell Wilson, and now you're spending a first round pick on a very less than ideal quarterback prospect. And again, I think Bo Nix has been very overhated through the process, even though in my official mock draft, I don't like make big boards or anything, but like I did an official mock draft. I had Bo Nix and Michael Penix falling out of the first round. So like that's just
Yeah.
what I think of them. And I'm nobody, as we found out. But I don't know. There's just it's so easy to say there's so many other things these teams can do than take these quarterbacks, but with the value of the position, if you think he's the guy, then you got to do it. Or Sean Payton was pissing himself in the war room, and he was like, "Oh, go next, do it, do it, do it." I don't know.
I think Nix has a very intriguing. I don't know if I'd put like a high level to it or not, ceiling. It's just Oregon's offense is so weird, and he did struggle in a more pro leaning offense at Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has by far the lowest floor. You look at Penix being, older. I think he's around the same age as Nix, but the
Mm-hmm.
offense he runs, I think that he's more. We know what he can look like in the NFL, unless Sean Payton just runs a college offense. We don't exactly know what Nix is going to look like. I think he could be good.
Yep.
I think his potential is there. The reason I don't like him as a first round pick is because I think the odds of that potential hitting are very low. And I think going to a team like Denver with that infrastructure right now, and also just my extreme dislike for Sean Payton, I think
Oh
it's
yeah,
a really funny outcome to watch them fail.
yeah.
Um,
There's also a wrong conclusion
it's
for people to come to about like when they traded for Zach Wilson a couple days ago. Like, and people are like, "Oh, well, they're definitely
they're
not
no
going
longer a
quarterback now."
threat.
Like,
Yeah.
that's not no. That's no. It's
I
easy to say
think
now, but
I think it probably showed that they weren't going to seriously be a contender to get into the top five for a
maybe
quarterback,
right. Yeah.
especially with picking up Sertan's option. I don't really know how that would have impacted a trade a whole lot, but I don't. I think that Sertan would have had to have been an asset to move up for a May or, um, rumors for McCarthy going top five over the last couple
Yeah.
months. I think those would have been necessary. Um, so, go on to enjoy the draft party, hang out quite a bit, and make a quick little bathroom run. And all of a sudden, we hear Vikings are on the clock at 17.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then we walk out and we see the announcement. So, you foreshadowed this a little bit. How much of a steal, like a scale of 1 to 10, is getting Dallas Turner at that pick?
Again, like, the defensive pool of players falling. It wasn't. I didn't like. I thought we'd go like 10 or 11 picks without a defensive player going. I didn't think we'd go. I think it was 15.
15.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Dallas Turner falling into your lap right there is just. You did have to trade back up to get it. So I think at the end of the day, you traded like with the Texans trade being factored in and everything. You traded like 2 second-round picks, a third, a fourth, and a fifth, which is kind of like it's a signal you overpaid on the charts for sure. But for a player like Dallas Turner, I'm not saying he's immediately better than Danielle Hunter or anything. There's not many people that are better than Danielle Hunter, but no, like walking away from the first round thinking if you listen to some people, you're trading 3 or 4 first round picks for Drake May. If you listen to other people and you like we think we're trading those 2 first round picks for McCarthy if you don't get May, but we end up
Oh, yeah.
walking out of the first round with McCarthy and Dallas Turner. You kind of
Huge.
you kind of sold your 2025 draft to do all of
We have
this.
what, 3 picks?
I think we have a 1 and 2/5. I'm pretty sure, and then a compensatory third. I could be wrong, but
And then
because
we
we
have
lost,
5 remaining picks in this draft.
yeah, we got like a fourth, 2/6, and 2/7.
So we have 8 picks in the remainder of this draft and then all of the draft next year. So basically one Rick Spielman 7th round.
Yeah, but damn it, do we have cap space? Yeah, I don't know. So don't expect the Vikings to make a selection tonight. As of recording this, the second and
There's
third round
nothing to
tonight.
trade
Like,
to get there. Yeah.
yeah, they can't. So it'll just be a fun, stress-free. Whoa, he's going there night, I guess, for us. Um,
Raiders panic drafting Spencer Rattler in the second is on my
it's
docket. It's on
gonna
my
feed
docket.
families after they drafted Brock Bowers after drafting Michael Mayer
That
last
is.
year. I don't know. Brock Bowers is more than
Uh,
just a tight end, so like I kind of get it, but still. Um, No, yeah, Dallas Turner for because of the trade compensation, I don't want to call it a steal, but getting him at 17th overall, like in a vacuum, that is huge, and I don't like to look at the players you got because the trade value
It's
matters
all
a
hypothetical, though.
lot. It is completely hypothetical, but just looking at the players, walking out of McCarthy with McCarthy and Turner, that I'm very happy about the players. I'm scared of the draft capital going forward, but the players, it's undeniable.
So, couple questions, and then we'll hit some. So much for. I love when we say we're gonna do a short episode. We're still
Yeah,
pushing 30
every
minutes.
time, every time.
Um, Here's the thing. Like, obviously, this is a very high level overview because we do content and need to figure out how to do content over the next 4 months until the preseason starts. So we'll dive into all the crazy stuff over the next few months. But does this impact the Turner pick real quick? Last kind of bit on this. How does this impact? I don't think it impacts where Grenard plays. Do you think this impacts where Van Ginkel plays at all, or do you think Turner might just not be heavily featured at first?
Um, with if you're running kind of like this more conservative, I guess, for lack of a better word, defense, and I don't want to say predictable, but Brian Flores is the defensive coordinator, so it's so hard. Like Dallas Turner could line up at like Mike linebacker, and I'd be like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
no, that makes sense.
He
But it
was
wouldn't.
announced as a linebacker at the draft.
Yeah, yeah.
That's never.
But
That's always accurate.
exactly the. I don't know. I think we'll see it like we had Daniil Hunter rush up the middle sometimes last year. So to now have like three quality edges, just to have a rotation, um, I think is vastly important. The draft for need there definitely would have been corner, but you can take your swing on an edge that's probably going to be very good. It's like because Van Ginkel's already 30, so like he's not a long term solution. Dallas Turner is now. Um, so I do kind of want to emphasize how much of a not so much win now move it was. But I don't know with the Brian Flores defense, they could all three be on the same field at the same time. I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think it changes anybody's roles a whole ton. And I think Turner might even get the start over Van Ginkel because Van Ginkel was he played in lieu of Jalen Phillips last year, so like, it's completely possible.
I, man, I just hope. We're very lucky to have Flores back this year. I hope. I'm already thinking about how long can we keep him to see what he can turn Dallas Turner into.
Yeah,
Um, and hey, we have a lot of hypotheticals and a lot of, we'll probably talk rookie mini camp over the next week or so. I think that probably happens, what, middle of next week, typically. It's about
something
five,
like that.
6 days after the draft. A lot of exciting stuff. Speaking of exciting stuff, do want to announce real quick, we have a winner for our jersey giveaway. Uh, as long as this gentleman responds with by tomorrow. If not, we'll announce a new winner because I don't want to do a contest and just not know 100% if the person's ever going to message back.
Hmm.
This gentleman is not super Twitter active, but he did engage in our sweepstakes. That will be Ryan Stainer. So Ryan will tag you on Twitter. Check your DMs if you happen to see this before you go in your DMs. Send me your address and your jersey size and your social security number. Just kidding. Only need two of those three things. You decide. And we'll get you a JJ McCarthy jersey. Or hey, if you want to spice it up, Dallas Turner. I haven't seen those posted on Fanatics yet, but we can see if we can do that.
Hmm.
Sent your way. Congratulations. Again, hit me back as soon as you can. Otherwise, I might have to redraw. Don't want to do that, so just let us know.
Yeah.
Um, Keep an eye out. Also, later today, there'll be another 5 minute episode. I put together a vlog. I am in my Casey Neistat era, I guess. It's interesting. You'll see some guest appearances from some cool people, some people from the Viking sphere, and also maybe a certain voice of the Vikings gives a little shout out to Vikes now. But on that note,
I
broad
do.
overview of the draft, initial
Yeah.
thoughts. Uh, How are you feeling, Brev, as far as just baseline emotion this morning?
I mean, I'm tired, but other than that,
Same.
uh, no, I'm excited. I think this draft it could have gone a lot worse, and I don't like that. That's the standard that I'm setting, but that's just the Vikings fan in me. But again, because I was so scared that Michael Penix Jr. was actually going to be a Minnesota Viking last night. But I don't know. Again, walking away with McCarthy and Turner in the first, like it's hard to not be overjoyed with that, uh, even with what the trade charts say. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think we can. I think we can call this a win. I think we can call Ryan's giveaway win a win. I think we can all win by using code JasonH on SeatGeek.
You know what's
For,
so funny is I was so ready to go with it. I had it.
yeah,
I had it. Oh,
yeah.
hey,
You know what else is
yeah.
a
You
win?
could using code Brev on SeatGeek. Either
No, you
one.
you could if you like. Um, so the name Skolcial Network, I have to do this. I owe this to somebody. Um, was curated by not me. I began the path to the Skolcial Network, and one of your good friends finished it.
Who?
A certain cinnamon roll.
Goodbye. We're done.
So I had to do that.
I would never have agreed
Yeah,
to to this if I knew that this was
he
oh
finished it
boy.
off. I made him upset. I owed it to him to tell the truth about
What do you mean
this,
he finished
and
it off? You
I'm
said
making this a
Skolcial
way
and he said
bigger deal than
network.
actually. I think I said like Skolcial Corner. So I thought Joe said Skolcial Network because we were in a space like a year ago talking about it. I really hang out with the
Everything's been a
best.
lie. Yeah,
No,
you hang out
I hang out with the
with
best
people
of
who
Viking sports.
absolutely love
Yeah,
me.
yeah. So yeah, I just wanted that Santana was a very heavy influence, and some would say even was the first person to say Skolcial Network.
Awesome. Well, that's really gonna throw off my vibe. Thank you for that.
Sorry.
I also have to check out of this hotel room in 20
Oh
minutes.
yeah,
So I'm glad you kept
do
me a
that.
few minutes later just to absolutely shit on my joy.
I do this because I
Um,
love you,
thank you, I
and I
guess.
lost a bet too.
You're you you're really having a win streak these last 24 or 48 hours, man. I'm
You
telling you.
you don't know the half of it. So
With that, uh, we're excited for the future. So much for our short episode of
oh, he
like
wanted me to
7 minutes.
say he's our daddy. I forgot about that part. I'm sorry.
Is this the do let's do this. Do not bet on the content of our show. Let's maybe be a
Yeah,
little more strategic. Anyways,
it's on me.
vlog episode coming in a little bit as well. That'll be a truly short episode because it's just about a 5 minute reflection of what happened last night at the draft party. But we love you guys. We're excited for the future. JJ McCarthy jersey is about to be inbound. Hopefully, they announce that number soon so I can run to the team shop and hit the custom jersey area and rock one on the plane. But we'll see you guys later on this afternoon with the
I
vlog,
am
and
a
then we'll see you
complete
next.
fraud.
What is going on? This is so sad to see,
Yeah,
man.
this
Did
is
you
bad.
bet your in? We need to have a conversation with like a gambling interventionalist. Anyways, we're the Skolcial Network,
I suck.
completely and totally by our own doing, and no influence of an anonymous Twitter account that hides behind a picture of food.